Hello, everybody. You're here with Matthew Daniel with UBETS Funder One, as accompanied by the one and only, as I always say, Mr. Ced Celestin. Hey, Ced, how are you today?
Very good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing amazing, doing amazing. We're here giving people an update every week, as we always do, and we have a lot of new things to talk about.
Yes, sir.
Always good things happening. A lot of movement with us. We this week maybe do something a little bit different. Want to give some people, maybe a little bit of market updates, and maybe do a little bit of a deeper dive into, how you came up and why you came up with some of the functions that Funder One UBETS offers versus what nobody else is doing in traditional markets. So I'd like to jump into those things as well with you, Ced, if you wouldn't mind. But at first, I'd like to kind of give people a little bit of an update, based on how, we see the markets, with 2020. It's been challenging, the real estate market this year. There's the nation with the current pandemic, there's been wildfires, storms. It's really impacted the real estate market. Since mid-March, there's been nearly 400,000 fewer homes that have been listed for sale compared to last year. It's creating less supplies and for less buyers out there. Before COVID, the number of homes for sale was actually increasing over the prior years. There was 130,000 more listings prior to the pandemic compared with the same period of time the year before. Currently the market is going into a high political and economical uncertainty for many people. Along with the low mortgage rates, sellers' confidence has dropped, relative to the growing strength of buyers' confidence. By the end of December, we all hope that home sales to come close to the levels that they were last year, as we're starting to see that trending. If it doesn't, it'll be due to the limited number of sellers listing their homes and not due to the lack of buyers. Sellers, as you know, there's a shortage in sellers in supply and an increase in buyers competition. We're definitely seeing that across the country. It's given them a lot more leverage to cause the fastest listing price growth than ever. Well, not than ever, and more so in the last 2 years. So we're starting to see a lot of different trending here, and the nice thing is we have a solution for these people. So we'll get back in we'll get back in a little bit more data here, but I'd like to ask you some questions, Ced, and kind of get into the meat and potatoes on some of the advancements that we're doing in this technology department. So, one of the questions that people always ask is, why do you think that we have the best platform in blockchain in what we've created?
Well, we have the best platform because, number one, we do not reinvent the wheel. And that's extremely important to the real estate business. Why I say that? If you don't reinvent something, you stay within the framework when it comes to documentation and everything else. It's basically the same flow, but the only difference is right now is that we give the opportunity to the people, since they are the trustor on everything they do at the bank. That's what the banks say. The banks say that we are the trustor. Now, how can I be the trustor and I'm the one losing? Which means as a trustor, I pick up who the trustee is. As a trustor, I have the power to create. I'm the one who create the instruments for the bank. Which means there's two major instruments. We have the note and we have the truth in lending.
Right.
There's other documents, but those are the two major ones that the banks use to actually create credit for themselves. Now, since we are the trustor, we're the one signing the documents or the instrument for them, we should not be ending up with the short hand of the stick. We're supposed to at least have what we sign for, what we purchase. It should not be, or there should not be any type of foreclosure clause or any type of clause, negative clause against what I purchase, because I own it as a trustor.
Right.
Now, the banks, of course, what they do within the document, not the note, because since the note, they go on and endorse it to themselves, pay to the order off without recourse, ABC Bank. They deposit it in their books as bookkeeping entry, and they create credit, right? On the spot, the second that they receive it, that's what they do. It's just like you go on and deposit a check at the bank. The note, they use that, and that's what they do. And they monetize, which you sign, I sign,
Yeah.
I sign the truth in lending, right? They monetize that amount because let's say on the truth in lending, they say clearly, this is the total amount that you would pay if you were to pay the whatever amount it is in 30 years, in 5 years, or whatever, right? Which means that amount is the one that they use. Myself, as the mortgage banker, I used to receive what they call a haircut from that amount, because that's the document that or instrument that they use. They actually sell it to all the parties or anybody as any collection agency. Now, here's the key that we need to understand when they do that. Whoever purchased that paper, they create a new account, which means a new serial number for that instrument, which actually give them the right to do the same thing that the previous bank or mortgage company or banker actually did. But at the end of the day, we the consumers, we the trustors are the one that ending up with the shortest end of the stick, and the investors, of course, because the investors don't understand how it works. You see, and that's why in blockchain is so important in blockchain, because in blockchain you cannot lie to anybody because it's very transparent. Anybody can go in there and see it. That's why when we tell our investors that we tokenize the property and we tell them how much they're gonna make on this particular investment, they will actually collect that amount. Why? Because they can go in blockchain and click on it and see how much the tokenization amount was. And once it's tokenized, which is the same document, the same amount on the truth in lending, it doesn't go anywhere.
Right.
That's the tokenization. You see that? So when we tokenize the property, we create the liquidity, and then we eliminate the debt. So that way, we as a consumers, or we can say the trustors, we cannot lose. So when we eliminate the debt, we eliminate the debt for the trustor. Because the trustor is the one that owns the instrument, is the one that signed the instrument, is the one that actually purchased the house or whatever it is. You see that? So it is very important for us as people to understand that we are the creators.
Right.
We are the trustors. So once we understand that, we know when we go to the bank, we have a lot more power than we think we had before. And that's basically what we try to do to the people. Right now with blockchain, that's the opportunity that we have. That's why I say that Satoshi is a very good guy, because he was a banker and he was tired of seeing all those things happening in the market or the real estate market for over the years. Every 4 or 5 years, there's always something going on in the real estate industry. Why? Why we always have that?
Right.
Now, this is a right we all have to have a home. Now I understand if it's a commercial property, if it's an investment property, the bank can't say anything. But now at least our home, they need to leave that alone. You see, it allows us to have our home to stay. And then whatever else that we have can be whatever. I mean, investment, you know, they can't do anything else with it. But now, still on our platform, whether it's a commercial property or your home, you have it free of debts, because the second that we tokenize it, we create the liquidity with the tokens, and then we eliminate the debt, period. That's
Yeah.
what we do. That's
Yeah.
the difference between us and the conventional platform or the conventional system, or they call it the fiat system.
Right. I mean, in other words, we're utilizing the blockchain not just as a peer-to-peer method, but we are using it as transparency for a market that is only currently in favor of themselves, being the bank, versus now we're using a blockchain that has better interest for the people and better interest for the investors, as obviously they're people as well. But as far as how a mortgage traditionally works, I mean, we really are utilizing blockchain, bridging the gap between home sellers and buyers by utilizing blockchain, and that's really what makes us unique. Again, we're not just using the blockchain for the cryptocurrency. We're using the blockchain to support our model for both investors, peer-to-peer transactions, and transparency for documenting the home sale. We're using all of those technology pieces to really revolutionize the business in the way that we've structured this model. So that's definitely something unique that, again, in all the years I've been in crypto, that nobody's quite been able to do yet. So that's very exciting right now. Something
Now,
else.
one thing that we need to keep in mind is that the banking system, as we know it, is centralized. Why we say centralized? Because it's controlled by the big boys, because they have a lot of cash. They have to, in order for you to participate in that game, you have to have a bank, you have to be approved at the Federal Reserve System. So they are there to make money. That's the bottom line. And we, the people, trustors on all transactions, are creating the instrument for them to make money.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the day, they can pull the rug under our feet and drop us in our behind, and we don't know where to go.
Right.
You see, and we are the one that created the whole platform for them. You see, because without us, there's no bank. Because it's clear on USC 5002, number 5002, and number 2, it says clearly the word bank means any person.
That's right. And what does a person, how do you define a person?
Exactly.
Right.
Did you read that? What did it say?
Well, a person is clearly defined as a natural person.
Exactly.
So if you're living and breathing, you are a natural person, and
That's right.
therefore you are defined as a bank.
Exactly.
And this is clearly stated, as Ed said, it's the U.S. Code 5002. So people, if you like to look it up, we encourage you to. This is a little tip from us so you can learn a little bit in what we're trying to tell everybody. So this is the fine print that people aren't reading and understanding. So we're explaining to you exactly what a bank is. And again, U.S. Code 5002. Please read what a bank is. Educate yourselves. So good tip.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. That's why myself, like I said, I usually say I love what I do. I love the mortgage business. Uh, but that's why right now I say, hey, the mortgage business is not helping the people. They're not helping the trustors, because I have too many of my clients end up on the streets after missing 2 or 3 payments.
No.
And that's unfair, because they are the one creating the instrument for the bank. they should not be on the streets, you see, for any given time, because the banks actually use the credit immediately, you see. So it's just that there's so many companies out there right now that are doing different things, are coming up with different opportunities on blockchain, but none of them mention the dream or what Satoshi, okay, came with,
Right.
the Bitcoin, the blockchain system, the peer-to-peer platform. Because if it's peer-to-peer, just like you go to the store and purchase a shirt, they ask you $100 for the shirt, you give them $100, which is a note, and then they give you your shirt. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's the same thing we do for the car, the same thing we do for the house. You see, the same thing we do for anything that we purchase. But they let us believe that that's not what it is. But in blockchain, they cannot hide it.
That's right.
Because in the central system, they can hide it. They can create that remake trust and put everything in there, making money every month, and say, hey, we don't make any money on this one. That was a bad debt. Now, how can you sign something, you create something for the bank, and they call it bad? And then they put in a bookkeeping entry as positive. How can it be in debt? It cannot be in debt. It has to be a positive in their books. You see?
Yeah.
So they make us believe that so they can take advantage of us.
That's right. And at the end of
Now, with blockchain, I can pretty much say it is over. So we here on our platform to help people to do their own thing. We have the platform. We can tokenize your property for you. We can create the liquidity for you, and we can eliminate the debt. It's that simple.
Yeah, and for the folks that haven't visited, please check our website at funder1.io and funder1.com. You'll see some new listings on there, some new properties that closed. So please do take a look. As said, saying you'll see the doc number, you'll see the ether scan on the blockchain. Again, full transparency. Every number, every dollar is completely visible. So again, in other fintech markets, things have become transparent. Broker-dealer markets have become transparent, and nothing different than what we're trying to bring in the real estate business. Again, to, as they say, reveal the curtain, what's behind the curtain in this business, and why are so many people putting their hands in the middle, and why is it going to the wrong people? When it should be going to the people that are purchasing the home or the investors that are behind putting the money so that the banks can actually give the loan for the home. So we're rearranging. Again, Seth always says we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just maybe rearranging the wheel. So making sure that the people are taken care of first, then the investors are taken care of. And then, of course, the business will take care of itself as we continue to help more people. So
now, one thing I say, I gotta reverse that. Instead of saying we help the people first, we have the investors. Why the investors? Because the investors are the one that coming with the funds up front. We have to take care of them first, because the clients or the members gonna be taken care of as long as the investors come in with the funds up front, just like the banks. Because
right.
what the banks do, they have a line of credit, or they call it a warehouse line of credit, that they use to actually close out transactions. So, and then they use that line of credit and they pay up at title or escrow, and then the property is paid for, and then they monetize the property so they can create credit. Now, what we're doing is the same thing. We're using the investors' funds to actually fund the property at escrow or title. We tokenize the property. We actually create those tokens. That's what we do when we tokenize. And then those tokens, we put it back on the market for sale. And as we create the liquidity, and that's how we pay the investors. So it's basically the same thing. It's just that the banks make the investors believe that they have to get their funds later, whereas the bank receives the money immediately.
Right.
And if you look at it, you see at the end of the year, all the bankers are they receive their bonuses at the end of the year. regardless of what happened to the market. The bankers receive their bonuses because and when they receive the note and the instrument, they create credit and everybody get paid.
Right.
Only the investors lose. That's nonsense. So that's why we put the investors first. We pay the investors within 90 days or 6 months or a year, depending on the program that they pick. So we make sure that they're taken care of, which means they can come back and put it back in the system, because remember, the mortgage, not the mortgage, or the real estate industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And this is a right for every single person to have a home.
So I actually,
When it comes to retirement, I'm going to brush on that real quick. The retirement portion of it. We should not be depending on the government to give us money, because if we have our home, which we pay for, okay, up front, at the end of our years, or before we die, or when we stop working, or the way our program works, after 5 years, we can actually use all equity that you have on your property. 5 years, not 30 years. And thank God there's no mortgage. You only pay a membership fee for 5 years. That's it. So just like the banks, if you were to read your document, it says clearly there's no debt on the property, because it is clear that the property is unencumbered. The banks cannot leverage a debt, which means they cannot put a property on the mortgage-backed security if there's a debt on it.
mm-hmm.
There has to be zero debt on that instrument in order for them to put it in that mortgage-backed security. So when they tell you there's a debt on your house, that's a big. Now, if you believe in the stock market, you can call your broker and tell them, okay, I have this debt here. I just purchased this house here for $500,000. I put zero down. I want to use this instrument and leverage it to see what this broker gonna tell you. You cannot leverage it because there's a debt on it.
Right.
The bank knows that. But we, as a people, we refuse to read the stuff that we sign. That's why we believe everything that they say. But if you were to read your mortgage or the deed of trust, it is clear in there that there is no debt on it. It is clear. So it just, not just information. We just want to help the people so our people can have a better retirement. When we retire, we know our home is clear of debt. Remember, it's not free and clear. No, it's not. Because if you did not sign those instruments for us, there's absolutely no way we could tokenize it for you. You see that?
Right.
So you have to sign. When you sign, you create for us. When you sign the instrument, you actually give us the opportunity to tokenize your property. Once we tokenize the property, we can create liquidity, and then we can eliminate the debt.
That's right.
So it's not free. By signing, you create. And when you create, since we have the platform, we can use our platform to tokenize it for you.
That's right.
So once we tokenize it, we can actually create liquidity for you. When we create liquidity for you, we can eliminate the debt for you. So who's the trustor? Who is the creator? You are. And that's the same thing you do every day for the bank. Whether you sign a note for a car, you sign a note for a house, you sign a note for a credit card, you sign a note for a student loan, anytime that you sign instruments that call note is a check, period. Because the banks use it to create credit.
Right.
That's what they do all day long.
You know, that brings us perfectly into our next question is, why do you believe that the people should invest in themselves?
That's what the law says. We just went over it. 12 USC
Yeah, yeah,
5002
no,
says it clearly. We are the bank, or the bank is any person. So when we think we invest in the bank for the bank to give us a percentage, what we're saying on our platform, you invest in yourself. Why we say you invest in yourself? Because when you purchase the property, that's your house from day one, because you create the instrument for us so we can do the tokenization. Without your signature, we cannot do anything. You have to sign it for us. When
right.
you sign, you create for us. Now, since you created for us, and the transparency in blockchain is so great, right? We can actually tokenize it. You can see how much that we make on this particular deal. But the bottom line is you want your house clear of debt. And that's what we do. So
And
that's why we're saying you invest in yourself by participating on our platform. We can do that for you, or we can help you do it, because we're going to do the paperwork, right? So we can file it at the proper entities like the courthouse. Yes, we do. The county recorders. Yes. And then we take it to blockchain.
yeah. Yeah, we have all the bits and pieces. Again, that's what, again, the UBETS Funder One platform provides is all the mechanisms that are necessary, again, to tokenize, to eliminate, and to create homes for individuals debt-free. And, so another question that people do ask quite often, even myself, what do you think about reverse mortgages?
Wow.
What is your feeling and your beliefs on, what they're for and how are they set up?
Now, what I say about reverse mortgage is that whoever came with that idea was a great idea.
Mm.
Now, the only question is, why reverse mortgage only apply to people that are 62 years old and over? Why? Why not somebody who can sign, or who's a man, who's over 18 years old, for example? Why not? Why you have to be 62?
Mm.
Because they're hoping that you die at 72. And then they have the house.
Right.
At 19, you can leave 72. But again, that shows something. When we sign that note for that reverse mortgage, because there's no timeline that you have to pay.
Right.
There's no payment. Huh? That shows us when you sign that note, let's say they think you're going to die at 72, and you stay until you're 102, and you're still in that house. They cannot foreclose.
Mm.
Because you can care less after you die, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's right. So which means if they were to do that for every single person over 18, that would actually show us there's actually no debt out there. You see that?
Right.
Because that's what shows us. If we are 62, we sign a reverse mortgage, there's no payment until I die. But if I'm 62, if they create that platform for me at 19, right, and I leave 102, right, I can live in the property as long as I want, and then who cares about the house at that point, right?
Right.
But they want to keep you in that system so you can lose and gain until you're 62, and then say, okay, this is the last stop. Now you can purchase your house. If you have equity, they're going to refinance. They're gonna do a new reverse mortgage for you. You don't have payment until you die. But this is a great example that when you sign your note, you sign the truth in lending for the bank that claim that they give you a loan, you actually create something else for them. And they use that, they take it to the market and make more. And not only that, they enter it as a ledger to ledger in their books as credit so they can give more loans.
Sure. Yeah.
That's what they do.
Again, leveraging, right? You're leveraging, re-leveraging.
Exactly. So basically, that's what they do. So why not, if you're 19, 18, 19 years old, we cannot give you the same program. Why there's a limit on it?
Right.
They had to make us believe that is not what we think it is. But it is what it is. When you sign something, you create something else for somebody else. And that's basically what it is. So
Yeah.
that's why myself, when it comes to reverse mortgage, that clearly tells me that when I sign the note to the bank, they create credit with it, they sign it, they endorse it, pay it to the other off without recourse ABC Bank or back to themselves. And they put in their bookkeeping entry, ledger to ledger, and create credit with it. And
Yeah.
that's what they use. That's why they don't have to have payment. You don't have to have payment, even if you leave on, until you're 102, because they already got the money and bonus and everything that they need. They got it because they can leverage it up to 50 times, depending on their size. Depending on their size, which means if you're a credit union, you were to do that, you can collect more. You can leverage it less. If you're a major bank like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, they are large, they are all over the world, they can leverage it as many times as they want.
Hmm.
Just so.
There you go. Sorry, froze for a second there. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's important for the people to know, and thank you for going into more detail, Seth, as each week we'll kind of uncover some of the reasons and the process and what Funder One does. Again, utilizing a traditional market, but we're just, we're kind of, I don't want to use the word, maybe liberating the people, letting them know how the traditional market, again, utilizing your name, your signature for their benefit. And all we're doing is utilizing the same mechanisms that they're utilizing, and so we're allowing you to benefit from it instead. And that's the way it should be,
Empower the people.
Empowering the people is exactly what we're trying to do here and what we are doing. And that's important for people to know exactly what Funder One stands for. And again, we will continue to be unveiling a lot of the market secrets that are happening and how we can leverage those things in blockchain, in cryptocurrency, to again benefit the people, empowering them, allow them to be homeowners and not be stressful and in such a crazy world that we live in, today. So. Said we covered a lot of great topics today. Is there any other last touches that you'd like to put on this video for the people?
Well, 2020 is the weirdest year that we've had in my lifetime, let's say, because I don't know before that what we had. A lot of great things are happening. And right now, I mean, we've been working on UBETS and Funder One for the last 2-3 years. And right now, we get to the point where we want our investors to understand there's something better. Now, we can see there's a lot of great opportunities out there, but the number one or the best asset that we ever had is a home. Because we can clearly say that maybe 75, 80, even 90% of the people may never invest in the stock market. But I'll tell you, 80% or more are willing to purchase a home. And the misconception that we have within the real estate system is that people are fearing of losing the home.
Right.
That's the fear. What we're trying to do right now with our program is eliminate that fear to let people know once we tokenize the property for you, we eliminate the debt, we create the liquidity and eliminate the debt. We don't have to deal with nobody. All you have to make sure that you do is the low membership fee that we charge for 5 years, you make sure you make that payment. That's it. Once you do that, you can secure your retirement because you don't have to answer to nobody else. The only thing is we do not handle Uncle Sam, which is the property tax, and insurance. We don't handle that, and we don't handle also association and none of that. We don't any third party fees. You have to pay those depending on where your property is located. Other than that, that big mortgage that usually steal your home, you're not going to have it on our platform. You can check with the one that we just closed. There's both of them are in Florida. You can actually go to blockchain and check it out. You can see on the security agreement, there is no debt. The property is clear of any debt because we tokenize the property. So that's why we're telling the people there's a better opportunity. Even if you have your home already, you already have your home, you're not in the market to purchase a home. We can do the same thing for you. We can tell us how much you own the property. We do an appraisal to know what the value is. We also send a payoff demand to your actual servicer or collection agency, because that's what they are, because they bought the paper for pennies on the dollar, right? We send a payoff request to them for them to let us know how much you owe. We don't negotiate none of that with them. They just tell us how much you owe, and then we receive that from the title company that gave us the total debt that you have, and then we tokenize it. We eliminate the debt for you. It's that simple.
Right.
Okay? You don't have to go to no hoops. And the best thing of it, we don't need the pay stub. We don't need W-2s. We don't need taxes. We don't need bank statements. We don't need no documents from you because the property can handle itself. If you have a contract on a piece of property that you're buying, or we need a contract, we need the contract, a copy of the contract, and then we need the appraisal to give us the value. And then our investors will review that, and then they fund the project for you. We call it project, just like the banks do. They call it a project, you see? And we fund it for you, and you know that you don't have any more debt.
Yeah, maybe next week, Sid, we'll take people through the process. We'll put together a video exactly on how we handle this and how people can get started immediately. And I think that would be nice for people to see. And we'll take them all the way up to the point where it gets listed on the website, you know, so people can see exactly how it works. And that'll be a nice tool for people so they can understand clearly on how it works. So, well, I appreciate your time, sir. I think we've covered a lot of topic today, and we have much more to cover next week and the next days to come. And as always, I really appreciate your time, and looking forward to continuing the conversation here in the next couple of days.
Very good. Now, one thing that I'll say that always I tell the people to look underneath of the screen here. You'll see our website is funder1.com. Funder1.com. And if you go to pitch deck, you can actually see the process as far as the comparison that we have there, that you can see how it works. And everything is on our site. There is no secret. We're just there to help not only our investors that are number one, and number two is you, the people. And we appreciate you. We want to help you so we can have a better life.
Very good. Thank you, Sid.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.